Right, what you've been waiting for. We absolutely loved this news.
We were quite excited by this.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, what?
I thought it was fake.
Yeah, we're getting trolled.
I thought it was fake.
Yeah.
I had to then go on the different media channels. As soon as I saw the actual Liverpool had tweeted something or their website or something.
Well, I saw it was Fabrizio.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah.
But then I was like, surely Fabrizio wouldn't be a troll here. Like,
No, but I thought it maybe been hacked.
Yeah,
I thought it's more likely Fabrizio Morano's been hacked than Klopp is leaving Liverpool. Genuinely.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
So, very shocked.
And apparently, Klopp leaving was discussed in November as well.
Well, the strange thing to me is
start of the season and then November.
They correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not the Liverpool man, but thank God. But I thought that he was his contract was originally due to end at the end of this season, and he discussed a contract extension. So I think this is why it's caught a lot of people off guard as well, because
he extended it, didn't he?
Yeah, for another 2 seasons. So something's obviously changed in his internal thinking, or after discussing with the club, that he wants to basically backtrack on that extension and go when he originally was going to go.
Yeah, so we thought it was going to be like illnesses, and that'll be obviously a sore subject, but he's confirmed that it's not. It could still be. He's probably just putting everyone's mind at ease.
He maybe want it to be private anyway, wouldn't he? If he was having a tough time.
Maybe. So we're not going to rip into him too much on here, are we? Because
no, you don't know the ins and outs, do you?
But we, as fans of United, we have a few theories like what it could be.
Yeah, this whole energy thing, the people are saying he's running out of energy and he's tired, and I don't know however you want to paraphrase that.
We don't really get that. I know he runs up and down touchline all the time. He'll be running up and down with a walking stick by the end of it.
I think he still had a couple of years in him, even if he did retire for that reason. I think it's more likely to be after discussing something with the club about the way they're going. Yeah, about how they switch things up in the coming seasons. Because obviously doing fantastically well this year. And there's a world where, just to touch on it now actually, that the timing of him announcing this could really give these players a kick up the arse and end on a spectacular high.
So it could go one or two ways. They could end on the high, maybe win the quadruple. I hope not. But it could kick them up the arse, like Levi said, and they could go for it all.
Honestly, I think it's feasible. They're the kind of club as well where this is a very emotional time now between the fans, the coach, the players.
Oh, they'll all be at it now,
I'm thinking there's a world where they really, really matter. I think it's a lot more likely that they have a very, very spectacular end to this season than any other outcome, personally.
Yeah, so the other outcome could be he's announced it way too soon and everyone's heads drop and go, oh, what's going to happen next season now? And they're not fully at it.
Yeah.
But, as we say, we think it's more likely to go the other way.
Yeah, he's too much of a character, in my opinion. The fans are very, very emotional, and
he'll probably be more fired up now he's announced it anyway.
Yeah, I think he might be looking at this now like, I want to end on high. Not just the club and the players, but I want to go out with the bang. We've seen what they can do in Europe. We've seen them take City all the way in previous years, and I've been saying for a while on the podcast that they were my tip to win the league this year anyway. So, I mean, we say that at the start of the year, I predicted United. But as the season's gone on, I've cemented quite early on that I thought Liverpool would be the team that could go on and do it.
And if Klopp wasn't here all these years, we could have had City running away with it for 10 years.
Yeah, he's made it very, very difficult.
Well, City have still been winning it like most years, but
they've pushed them to the line.
Yeah,
they've been there right at, it's gone to the end of the season, the last day of the season on several occasions.
Yeah.
So I think for the Premier League overall, it's a massive loss, because I think when people think Premier League currently, top managers, the two managers that come into the conversation are Pep Guardiola and Jurgen Klopp. Yeah. Nobody else really makes that list. They get, in terms of actual successful, fantastic managers. So he'll be on his way out. I'll ask you now, do you think there's any way that he U-turns on this decision?
No.
You think even if they win all of it this season, he doesn't come out and do the Wolf of Wall Street like, I'm not fucking leaving?
The only reason why I say no is because we had this discussion about Salah, And we said if Salah wins the Premier League this season, that's more reason for him to go, okay, ending on a high.
We saw it a little bit with City last year. The amount of players that they lost, someone like Riyad Mahrez.
Because they've finally done it.
You've got nothing else to achieve.
Yeah, they've reached it now, yeah. So, even if Klopp goes and wins it all, he's leaving still.
Well, that might be another reason for Klopp to say, I've said I was going to leave. I've won X, Y, Z this season.
Yeah.
That makes it an even better time for me to go. And I think the same for some of the players. I mean, I think me and you both have a similar theory of how this actually has come about.
Yeah, we didn't actually speak about this, and we both came up with it. We both thought this outcome.
Yes. So it's not we're drawing a parallel here, as we often do on the podcast, with when Sir Alex Ferguson left Manchester United, and obviously that was a much longer time that he was in charge, but it was similar in that he left and it was unexpected, let's say. Even though he was a lot older, people weren't expecting it. People aren't expecting this now with Klopp. And the way that we've both sort of looked at it so far is that despite the fact there's still a lot of promising talent in that squad, and obviously he's proved that because they're top of the league and in all competitions still this season, is that there's a lot of players in that team that are coming to their peak years, or maybe just ending their peak years. There's obviously large talk about Salah probably leaving. We both think Salah will leave at the end of the season. And I think this is a time where Jurgen Klopp's looking at that team and thinking, I've got to do all this again now.
Yeah.
I've got to build. There's still a lot of people in there. You got your Trents, you brought in Szoboszlai, you've got Darwin Núñez. There's still lots of players in there, but Alisson is an older player. I know he's a goalkeeper, fair enough.
Failed to get his defensive midfielder, didn't he?
Virgil van Dijk. Robertson seems to have been plagued with injury. Salah looks like he's leaving. He already lost Henderson last year and James Milner and people that have been mainstays in his team for many years.
There's a lot of similarities with when Fergie went to when Klopp's going now.
Yeah, you look, he had Van Persie, but Van Persie was older. Rooney was older. He had Rio and Vidic, and they were
coming towards the end
of the career. It looked at it where it needed a complete overhaul. Although there were some players in there that you'll keep, your likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Szoboszlai. I mean, even someone like Núñez, they've just splashed the money on. There's players in there that will be potentially at the forefront of this rebuild. Yeah. But I think the key thing is there is a rebuild on the horizon within the next few seasons due to the age of the players.
That's probably why he's saying, I haven't got the energy for this, because it takes a lot.
He's got to do it all again.
Yeah.
We're not just talking another season, because he might finish this season, win whatever. Even if he wins nothing at the end of this season and he hadn't said he was leaving, he's got to get all them players to go again. He inevitably will lose some of them.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And I think that is that's where maybe then the energy is bang on the money, but he isn't coming out and saying it's as obvious as we need a lot of work doing, the club and I need to work together. He's living that with someone else, effectively.
Yeah, so we thought he's found out Salah's they're going to sell Salah at the end of the season, and he's basically said, what about these sort of names?
Money?
Yeah, how are we going to invest the money? People like Mbappe getting talked about, and if Liverpool go, well, we can't afford the wages, we can't do this, we can't do that, he's probably gone, it's too much.
Big job now.
Too much, yeah. And if you look back at Dortmund when he was there, I remember he lost quite a few players a lot of players started moving on, so Lewandowski moved on. I think Goetzl moved on as well.
He'd been and gone.
Yeah. And the only one that stayed is Marco Reus. But the main thing that I was on about is Klopp was losing his best players, and Dortmund don't really have the funds to replace them sort of players, and he left. And obviously he ended up coming to Liverpool. So I think it's similar. We're not saying, obviously, we're not being bitter fans and saying, oh, it's just because he's got like same as Sir Alex. It probably is about the energy, but it's all linked because it's a big job to.
Yeah, I think now that we've sort of talked about it and discussed how we feel about it. Now I think I do link it back to how he has actually come out in that interview and said it's probably due to, and he said it's the energy and I've not got that. I can't keep doing this forever, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that is the case, and this is just what we've actually said could be the reality, and that's the good way of him putting it forward to the club in a light. He's never going to come out and say this is what the club needs to do and we're not doing it, so I'm going. He's got too much respect for the fans and the club to go out on a sour note. But I think that is the reality. I think there's a big job there in the coming years to bring in a group of players to replicate and compete in the way that he just has. And I'm not sure that he fancies doing that based on how much effort and energy he's already put into it.
He got asked in a recent press conference, he was like, someone went, well, because you obviously announced you're going to be leaving at the end of the season, Sir Alex actually announced back in 2002 or something that he was going to leave, and then took a U-turn and said, no, I'm not fucking leaving. Will that ever happen to you? And he was just basically like, no.
Yeah, he wouldn't come out and say this was going to actually happen if he wasn't.
No, and when you saw the interview of Klopp actually coming out with it, he seemed a bit like emotional about it. So there's no chance he's taking a U-turn. But then he was like, really, Sir Alex did that? He didn't know and all that stuff. But yeah, no chances of a U-turn. I'm very happy that he's going, but also sad because having him in the Premier League elevates the Premier League. And I don't think if he's going, he won't ever be managing the Premier League again, he said. I think that's quite sad from a Premier League point of view.
From an overall point of view, it's a top manager leaving, and probably that'll be the end of it. I'm quite content that he's leaving a big rival, and I think that it weakens the club. So, certainly in the short term. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I don't see a world.
Liverpool fans, you don't know how good you had it.
Well, let's just hope they don't immediately pick up where they left off, because that'd be troubling for us.
Yeah, imagine.